Your father's death has been a terrible shock, Nancy, to all of us. But it is a comfort to know that he's left you financially secure.
John, I'd rather not discuss financial problems now.
I don't know whether you know it or not, but just a few weeks ago, George and I, as senior and junior members of the firm, respectively, took out separate insurance policies, each naming the other as beneficiary, which means that I can carry on our business without interruption and protect your interests as George's heir. Nancy, you're not listening.
Frankly, John, I wasn't. Well, I'm quite sure it's practical, insurance and all of that, but I just can't seem to think about those things now. John, what I can't understand is why the papers keep referring to the fact that Dad had been drinking heavily the night of his accident. He didn't drink that much, you know that.
Well, apparently he had been drinking. There seems to be no doubt that he stumbled and fell downstairs.
He must have had worries that none of us knew about.
We all of us have worries we try to keep hidden from those we love. Call me if there's anything you need.
Thank you, John.
Malone, I'm sorry to keep you waiting. I didn't realize what time it was. The funeral, you know. What's on your mind?
Look out they don't bounce up and hit you in the face.
These checks? Just hold them for a while.
Listen, Hammond. I run a gambling joint. That's part of my business. I don't want any bum checks passed by you or anybody else. I told you a week ago to stop writing IOUs on the house until you had the money. So what do? You put your name on these worthless pieces of paper.
Why, those checks are chicken feed compared to what we've got coming. In a few weeks, I can pay you 10 times that much. You know that.
Okay, but until then, don't write any more checks in my place on money that you're going to get.
The money's as good as in my hands right now.
Look, in my business, you believe it when you see it. Just want you to know that I'm going to be breathing down your neck until I see that insurance money.
You say when the two men, Sullivan and Hammond, placed their firm's insurance with us, Sullivan was just as anxious to have it as Hammond?
That's right. It was the junior partner's idea. But when I started to write up the policy, the senior partner raised the ante.
Double indemnity. $100,000, that's a lot of money.
Well, what can we do about it? According to the police, it was an accident, unexpected.
Do you know how many unexpected accident claims we've paid off recently? And all of them in this district. Listen. Stella Calhoun, automobile accident, car overturned, burned, $50,000, double indemnity. Sam Spicer, fall from a bridge, $65,000, double indemnity. Keith Watkins, gas leak explosion, $20,000. And all these policies, like Sullivan's, taken out shortly before the deaths.
Well, I'll admit it doesn't sound good.
You know, this could be a racket.
Well, I can't vouch for the San Marlowe claim. But Sullivan and Hammond are certainly responsible citizens in our town.
Oh, how far does that go these days? With guys on the loose that had cut their own grandmother's throats if it only paid off in milk tokens. I'm going to hold up this claim. I got a hunch. I'm going to put our best investigator on this, see what he comes up with. Give me Tom Davidson. If Davidson doesn't come up with something, well, Mr. Hammond's firm is going to be richer by $100,000.
Miss Sullivan is in the living room, sir.
Thank you.
Mr. Davison?
Morning, Miss Sullivan. I'm sorry I'm a few minutes late.
It's all right. Won't you sit down?
Thank you. Well, first, I just want to say how very happy we are that you've consented to give our company your full cooperation.
Well, it's just a matter of routine, isn't it?
Not exactly. You see, in this case, the claim is a rather large one, and it'll require thorough investigation. So I'm afraid I'm going to have to ask you a few questions. Several of them concerning your father's partner, John Hammond.
John? Why, I've always considered him like one of the family. His wife died a few years ago, and he's never married again.
I see. Then he's known your father for a long time, then.
20 years. Oh, but surely your company isn't concerned about John Hammond.
Oh, I don't mean to imply that, Miss Sullivan, but we feel that your father's accident might not have been purely accidental.
Not accidental? Then you mean he didn't fall?
Well, let's look at the facts. Your father worked late quite often.
Yes.
And according to the reports, he'd been drinking so heavily that he fell down the stairs.
That's just it. I've never known him to drink that much before.
Oh?
That's what I can't understand about the whole thing. I told Mr. Hammond that, but he says the facts prove otherwise.
I see. How about the elevator? The company says it was a fairly new one, not defective. The janitor says he wasn't in the building at the time of your father's death. In fact, we can't find anyone who was in the building except your father, and he walked down the stairs.
It's an automatic elevator, Mr. Davison. He'd never walk unless it were out of order. And if it were temporarily in use, he'd wait for it.
That's the way we feel about it, Miss Sullivan, and that's one of the reasons I'm here. Now, perhaps we can clear up the unhappy circumstances of your father's death, but I'll need your help.
In what way, Mr. Davison?
I'd like to establish closer contact with the Sullivan-Hammond Company. And it might be better if it were not in my position as an investigator. Will you cooperate with me?
Yes, I'd be glad to.
I understand how you feel, Miss Sullivan, and I appreciate your help.
John thought he'd leave Atlanta for greener fields.
Yes, sir. With palm trees and orange blossoms.
You're a cousin of Nancy's on her father's side?
No, sir. Nancy's mother and my mother were sisters.
Ever been to California before?
Oh, I've tried and tried to get him to come out here, but you know how difficult it is to pull up stakes.
Well, we'll give you a chance, Tom.
Well, thank you, sir.
Have you ever sold real estate?
Oh, yes, sir, but not commercial.
He's a very good salesman, John. Well, at least he tells me he is.
Well, so I've been told, sir.
We don't have an office for you at the moment, but one of our men is leaving next week, then you can have his. Jerry, I'm sending Tom Davison in to see you. He's going to be with us. Jerry Hatcher is our head salesman. He'll show you the ropes.
Fine, sir.
For the present, you will share an office with our accountant, Addie Wilson.
Well, I certainly appreciate this opportunity, Mr. Hammond, sir. I know I'll be successful.
Thank you, John. Good luck, Tom. See you later.
Thank you, Nancy.
Hatcher's office is just down the hall to the left of the elevator.
Oh, thank you, Mr. Hammond.
Addie, I'm putting Nancy's cousin in your office temporarily.
Why pick on me?
Now, don't fuss. I know what I'm doing. Play up to him if you have to. For heaven's sake, use diplomacy.
I hate snooping relatives. Even under the best conditions, they're tough to take. Maybe this won't be so tough.
Addie, this is Tom Davison.
I know.
Miss Wilson.
It's a pleasure, ma'am.
I'll leave him with you, Addie.
Wonderful. I mean, I've been expecting Mr. Davison. Anticipating.
I'll go over the rental list with you later.
Well, thank you, Mr. Hatcher.
This will be your desk, Mr. Davison. They'll plug in a private phone for you tomorrow. But I'm here all day, and if there are any messages while you're out, I'd be very glad to take them for you.
Oh, that'll be fine.
Now, let's see if I've left anything of mine in here. In case of rain. Imagine rain in California. If there's anything you want to know, just ask me. Anytime. Thanks. I've been with the firm a long time, and I know everybody's secrets.
Thank you, Miss Wilson. If there's ever anything I need to know, I most certainly will ask you.
That was a delightful dinner, Tom.
Well, I'm certainly glad you enjoyed it, Addie. I just hope I didn't ask too many questions concerning the Sullivan-Hammond Company.
Oh, not particularly. You're Nancy's cousin, and she's part owner, so it's only natural that you'd want to know how solvent the company was.
Well, actually, she wanted me here to sort of protect her interests. You see, ever since Uncle George died, she's been somewhat concerned.
Concerned about what?
Hammond's business ability. Several of the older employees feel that he isn't too capable, that in another year or so there may be no company at all.
Oh, well, that's ridiculous. Someone's envious, of course.
They say it wasn't Uncle George, but Hammond who's been doing the heavy drinking.
How vicious can they be? I'm surprised at Nancy believing all that rot. She knows John Hammond's not like that. Of course, I knew Mr. Sullivan better. I was his secretary before I became firm accountant.
Well, let's not talk about business. That's not what this date was for.
Wasn't it?
No. It's for dinner, dancing. Powder your nose, honey. It's shiny.
I love observant men.
This fell out of your purse, honey.
Oh. It's amazing how a little powder and paint does fortify a woman. Now I'm ready for anything.
That's what the Iroquois Indians always said. Just before a massacre.
Well, this is it, such as it is.
Well, this is fine, Addie.
I think an apartment is the poorest excuse for a home. Make yourself at home while I fix you a drink. What do you have, scotch or bourbon?
A little scotch, please, with soda. Why haven't you ever bought yourself a home, Addie?
Well, you know, alone, no one to love you. You just don't have the incentive.
Oh, now, Addie.
I hope you like this scotch. It was a gift.
Your mother?
Yes.
Here's...
No toast. Just to our continued friendship.
That is a marvelous toast. Good morning, Miss Nancy. There were several messages at the office that you'd called.
I'm afraid I'm going to recommend that they fire you if you don't stay on the job, my southern cousin. And you can drop the accent. We're alone.
Okay, but I have been on the job. I had a date with Addie last night.
Oh? Pleasant occupation.
Could be. What I found in her apartment.
To Addie, my own true love, John. That's strange. I don't ever remember Dad speaking of Addie and John knowing each other so intimately.
Yeah, she lied to me about that. And where there's a lie, there's a lead. And that could be it.
Well, it is rather surprising, but do you think it could mean anything more than that?
That's what I hope to find out.
Tom, the reason I've been trying to call you is because I'm giving a dinner party tonight, and although I know it's not in your curriculum, but all work and no play, and, well, whatever the rest of that saying is. But anyway, you know what I mean, and will you accept?
I bet you could repeat that speech.
Oh, yes, I could. I've been rehearsing it for an hour.
Well, I appreciate the invitation, but I'm afraid I can't accept. I have to work.
Work? Tonight?
Yes, you see, I have a dinner engagement with Addie.
Oh, you are getting in a rut.
I wouldn't say it's entirely unproductive.
Don't you ever relax?
Occasionally. May I have a rain check on that dinner date?
All right, you have it.
Thanks. Well, I have to list an apartment in this neighborhood. I'd better be on my way.
Wouldn't it be a strange switch if you turned out to be a high-powered real estate man?
Sort of a jack of all trades, you mean?
Well, you seem to be pretty versatile.
Oh, there must be an answer to that. I'll try to figure it out and have it when I cash in my rain check on that dinner date.
Okay, start thinking.
Oh, I'll keep you posted on my progress with Addie.
I can hardly wait.
I know he read that insurance card that dropped out of my handbag.
What do you suppose he thinks he's run onto?
Well, whatever it is, it's beyond the snooping stage. People just don't steal photographs unless they're collector's items.
Well, that picture of me was a collector's item. Hope he doesn't show it to anyone.
Seems to me, John, that you're taking all this very lightly. You know, it's quiz kids like him that come up with all the answers.
I know. Don't worry, he won't get far. But I wish he'd stayed in Atlanta. I'm not going to let a kid like that wreck my future.
Our future. Remember, darling, we're in this together.
Hello.
Hello, Mr. Hatcher. This is Davison. Say, do you know a Charles Malone around town here?
Malone? Sure, he's a local gambler. The Nighthawk on Post Road. Not at all, Davis, not anytime. Right.
Well, how about lunch sometime? All right, fine. I'll call you. Goodbye.
Another woman in your life?
Could be.
You see, you can't trust any man.
Oh, your mother was certainly right when she said that, wasn't she, Addie?
Oh, Tom, I'm sorry. I have to break our dinner date tonight. The boss wants to talk business.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that, Addie. I was looking forward to it.
Call another gal. You've been in town long enough to know a few.
Huh, good idea. Listen to this.
Hello?
Hello, this is Tom. Is that dinner still on?
Yes, but I thought you were working tonight.
Well, so did I, but the deal fell through.
What's the matter? You slipping?
Oh, I hope not, but you know how it is. Sometimes yes, sometimes no.
Oh, I wish I could say I'm sorry, but I'm not. However, I'm afraid it's too late about dinner because I've already invited someone else. You know, you do have to plan dinner parties.
Oh, well, I understand. How about lunch today?
Oh, I'm sorry, Tom, but I really don't think I could make it. It's after 12 now, and I couldn't possibly be ready before 2.
And that, of course, is too late for me. Well, goodbye.
No luck?
No luck.
Too bad.
How about lunch?
Too late.
For you, too?
Uh-huh.
I am a social failure.
It would seem so.
The elevator's stuck in the basement.
Oh, sometime the elevator she's no good. I go see.
We'll both go.
All right.
If there's anything wrong with that elevator, I want it fixed before there's another accident around.
Yes, sir, Mr. Hammond.
What are you doing? What's the idea of holding up the elevator service?
Well, you see, Mr. Hammond, both Nancy and I have been very curious about why the elevator might not have been working the night Uncle George was killed. And I think I may have the answer. Looky here.
I don't get it.
I think I see. If the wood, she stay in the elevator door, then the elevator should stay in the basement. And she's no push up.
That's right, Tony. The elevator no push up.
Well, sounds a little far-fetched to me. I hope you turn out to be a better real estate salesman than you are a detective.
Nearly 7, John. Are you about ready to leave?
Not quite, dear. You run along. I'll join you at Sherry's in about an hour.
Okay, I have a couple of packages to pick up. I'll get a table. What's making you so nervous, John?
I called San Francisco today, the insurance company's main office.
And?
I talked to a man named James, Russell James. The claim is still being held up.
Now, don't imagine things. I'm sure it's only routine. It's just red tape.
I tried to get him to tell me approximately when it would be paid. All he would say was slight delay. Now, with his cousin here snooping around, suppose he runs out of something really damaging.
When he gets in our way, we'll take care of him.
But if he goes to the police with his suspicions about the elevator, who knows? I have no intention of losing $100,000.
Well, neither have I. And we're not going to. Take it easy. I'll see you later. Good night, Tom.
Good night, Eddie.
Working late?
Oh, about another half hour. I think I have a renter for that building on 4th and Central, hanging around for a call.
That's fine. I'm leaving in a minute. Will you see that all the lights are out before you go?
Yes, sir.
Economy, you know.
Good night, sir.
shaft.
Are you sure?
Yes, I was down the hall and I heard someone scream.
Go call an ambulance. I'll go downstairs.
Right.
Couldn't have been Addie, could it? She was the only one here in the office tonight besides you and me.
Operator, ambulance service, emergency. Sullivan Hammond Realty Building, Spring Street. Hurry.
Shall I wash it for you while you're in there, Mr. Wallace?
Yeah, and use a little elbow grease this time.
Yes, sir.
Fireworks today, boy. They're all in there now.
Park it over there behind Hammond's car. I'll wash it when I get a chance.
So now look what you've done. Killed a dame and brought every cop in town to your office again. Hi, Duke. You and your big shot talk. I told you when you yapped about that Davison kid to lay off, didn't I?
But he knew something, Malone. I'm sure he was going to the police.
Rats. I've told you not to use my private phone.
Okay, Mr. Malone.
So everything was okay. You had the situation right in the palm of your shaking hand. Well, that's the trouble with amateurs. Never figure out the next move. All right. Now this I want to know. What are you going to do when the cops really start hammering at you? This morning was nothing. Wait till they begin breaking you. What are you going to tell them?
I don't see that that's a problem. I'll simply stick to my conviction that the elevator was defective. The police don't suspect anything.
Listen to this. Wilson death elevator not defective. Police believe elevator's safe.
One day cops may seem dumb, the next day they're smart. But too much has happened in the Sullivan Hammond Realty Corporation for an insurance company to ever pay off.
Nobody's got anything on me.
It was your idea to insure this Sullivan for that dough and then have him knocked off?
That's a lie. It was yours.
So I went along with you. I did the dirty work. I had the guy knocked off.
You're double-crossing me, Malone. You know why it was done. You forced me because of that gambling debt I owed you.
And look at the cut I was getting, not even half. You and that Wilson dame were getting 2/3. And I got employees to pay. Now we may not get anything, none of us, due to your stupid interference.
Please, Malone, lay off, will you? You don't understand.
What, that you fouled up the deal?
No, that I can't stop thinking of Addie.
All right, boys, take him home.
I can get home alone.
Well, then all of you beat it. Now, Duke, you stay. When did you start packing this?
Why, I...
Better let me keep it. We don't want anything to happen to you yet. We'll work it out some way, Hammond. But from now on, keep your mouth shut. Guys like that squeal sooner or later. Guilty conscience, martyr stuff. He's got to be made to keep quiet one way
Or the other, I know. So what happens to our share of the $100,000 insurance dough? That's the trouble with this racket. Too much chance. Now, you take the stock market. It says here...
Don't read out loud while I'm thinking. That insurance company will never pay off now without investigating plenty, and that we can't have. It's better to pass up that dough than put ourselves on the hot seat.
Yep. That's what my old lady would have called the lesser of two evils.
Yeah. We're about set on that Marshall deal, aren't we?
All set. Played along with us and took out the policy just like you figured.
Good. We'll get rolling on it. Pays less dough, but it's a lot safer. And there won't be any John Hammond to cut in.
Any place special in mind for dinner?
You mean we can go any place I want to?
Your evening.
There's a wonderful spot up the coast a ways. Hangs over a cliff. Big glass windows looking out to sea. And a real fireplace. It's cozy. It's a beautiful moon tonight to go with it.
How well did Hammond know Malone?
I don't... What has that got to do with what I was saying?
What were you saying?
I was just saying, wouldn't it be nice to go to a drive-in and have a hamburger?
Well, it's a wonderful idea. I love hamburgers.
With onions, no doubt?
Yeah, big Bermudas.
It's your evening.
I just want to run up to my office for a minute.
Another minute?
Oh, I won't be long. Here, time me. 10 minutes at the most, and then we'll have dinner.
You said that exactly an hour ago.
We're a little behind schedule, but I'll make it up to you. Husband.
Well, for once you're ahead of time.
Aren't you going to congratulate me?
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Slim did a swell job writing this note.
Yeah, the guy's got talent.
Operator 27? What happened to my call to San Francisco? No, miss. Russell James, James, the Cosmopolitan Insurance Company, market 70465. That's right. Hello, James. Davison. Here's a follow-up on this morning. He was killed with his own gun. I just talked to the chief. Hammond purchased the gun only a few weeks ago. Oh, right here in town. Well, according to the coroner and the San Marlo cops, it's a closed case, but I'm not so sure. There are a couple of things that just don't add up.
I mean, my hunch was right? Looks like a racket to you, too? That's right. There was a gambling angle in that Los Angeles case.
I thought so. Have Sam check the files and see if there was a gambler named Charles Malone, M-A-L-O-N-E, mixed up in it. Then call me back when you get the dope. Right. Come in.
Tom.
Nancy.
Oh, Tom, I can't understand how John could have done this.
From my experience, people usually do such things from desperation.
What do you mean?
Well, apparently Hammond had been gambling quite heavily and needed that insurance money to pay his debts.
But why would he kill himself?
Well, when my company held up the claim, evidently he couldn't pay off. And when that happens, gamblers get tough.
Maybe you think it wasn't suicide?
That's right. But I've got to do some more checking before I'm sure.
Tom, last night while I was waiting for you, 2 men drove into the parking lot. When they saw me, they got back into their car and drove away again. Could that mean anything?
Possibly. Would you be able to recognize them if you saw them again?
Yes, I think I would.
Excuse me. Hello? Right.
Looks as if you might be onto something, Tom. Malone was tied up with that Los Angeles case.
Good. Now things are beginning to add up. I'll keep you posted. Have you got a date for tonight?
No.
Well, you have now. We're having dinner together, Miss Nancy, at the Night Hawk.
Tom, look. Those are the 2 men I told you about.
Are you sure?
Yes.
I think they'd recognize you.
I don't think so. It was pretty dark last night.
Good evening.
Good evening,
Table
sir.
for 2?
Yes, sir. I beg your pardon.
Jimmy.
Nancy! Hiya, darling. You know, you're the most beautiful thing I've ever seen in my life. I'll see you later.
Well, is that a habit of his?
It's beginning to be one.
Who is he?
Jimmy Marshall. Owns an automobile agency in town. They say he's beginning to drink himself into bankruptcy.
Duke, Mr. Malone wants to see you in his office right away.
Are you looking for something, Mr. Marshall?
Can't find my stub.
You didn't have a hat.
That's right. I didn't have a hat. Didn't have a hat. Didn't have a hat.
Hey, Jimmy. Hadn't you better let one of the boys drive you home?
Nope. I just point that little old car of mine toward home and say, scat. And it drives me there.
Tom, he shouldn't be allowed to drive that way.
Well, don't worry, honey. I'll see what I can do. Would you show the lady to a table, please?
Yes, no, thank you. I'd rather wait.
Be right back. Come on, Nancy. We have to leave.
You must have got a sudden call.
I did.
I bet you're a doctor.
Yes, ma'am. Excuse us, please.
I'll bet it's a baby case.
I hope it's a boy.
What's the matter? Didn't you like the decorations?
Doctor, baby case.
Oh, good luck, Doc.
Oh, thanks, son. sure you know where Jimmy Marshall lives?
Yes, on Magnolia. We're almost there. Tom, look.
Friend Jimmy, all right.
I was afraid this would happen. Tom, he couldn't have been driving that car. You told me you saw those men throw him in the back seat.
That's right. So it's a cinch he didn't get here by himself. He looks pretty bad. Go back to that gas station we passed and call an ambulance. Insurance man answered one of my questions. Jimmy has an accident policy, $25,000 double indemnity, made out to a local haberdasher, supposedly a pal of his.
Oh, couldn't that be possible?
It's possible, but not probable.
Tom, Jimmy doesn't have any family.
Neither do I.
You don't need one.
Oh, but I do need love and affection.
Tell me, Mr. Davison, do you always mix homicide and heart interest?
Well, I've been known to.
Uh-huh. That's what I thought.
Drop me off at Wallace's haberdashery. While I'm in there, go to the address on this card and pick up the wire recorder I ordered. Then go on to the hospital and I'll meet you there.
Yes, sir. Good luck.
Thanks, Nancy. I'll see you at the hospital.
Right.
Oh, good morning, sir.
Hi.
Are you the owner here?
I just work here.
Oh, is the owner around?
Yeah, you want to see him?
If I may, sir.
Okay.
Do you want to see me?
Yes, sir. I'm Tom Davis, and I was one of the persons who found Jimmy Marshall last night.
I know. I read the papers.
Well, just before Jimmy became unconscious, he asked me to give Duke Wallace, a pal of his, a message. Are you Mr. Wallace?
Yeah.
Well, he said that in case anything should happen to him, that you'd be paid off. I hope I got it right, sir. Does that make any sense to you?
Is that all?
Yes, sir.
Johnny?
Yeah, Duke?
The gentleman didn't find what he was looking for. We'll have a better selection next week.
Yeah, mister. We'll have a better selection next week. Why don't you stop around?
Well, thank you, sir. Good day, sir.
Good day.
How do you like that punk Davison? Giving me a message from Marshall. Who does he think he's kidding?
Maybe Hammond was right about it.
Yeah, and now he's beginning to get in my hair.
Don't worry about him now. We've got to take care of Marshall first.
Will you tell me why everything is blown up in our faces? Jimmy'd be dead if that jerk hadn't have found him. And another thing, how come he showed up at the scene of that accident last night?
Not a coincidence. But get a load of this. The doc says Jimmy's got a slim chance of living. And if he lives, he'll talk. And I'm not going to have anything mess up this deal if I have to tear that hospital apart.
It's time he was out of there.
then there was a terrific pain somewhere in my head. And I woke up here. In the hospital.
I'm sorry, Mr. Davison. You'll have to leave now.
All right, miss. Thanks a lot, Jimmy. Just take it easy and you'll be out of here in no time. Jimmy? Jimmy! Come on, get back. You're too late. The guy's right. Get the recorder.
Jimmy. Jimmy. Nurse! Nurse! Nurse, hurry, please.
His pulse, it was weak, but not critical.
Nurse, what's happened to Mr. Davison? He wouldn't have left without telling me. The recording machine's gone. And I know he wouldn't have left without taking this. Is there any other way out of this building?
He'd have to pass the reception room. Perhaps you didn't notice him.
He knew I was waiting for him.
I'll have to notify the superintendent. If you'd like to come with me and talk to him.
Yes. Thank you.
Why, Mr. Spangler! What happened?
Oh, thank you, Miss Pringle. Another minute and I would have died. I was just collecting the soiled laundry down at the end of the corridor when two men grabbed me. Oh, it was awful. One of them hit me over the head and threw me in here.
Were they in white uniforms like yours?
I think so.
With a laundry hamper?
I don't know. Maybe they took mine. I had one.
Slight abrasion, nothing serious. The superintendent isn't going to like this.
Well, neither did I.
Where's the recording you took?
I certainly wish I knew, sir.
I'll let it play. Maybe what he took is on the end of the roll.
I'd been gambling and drinking heavily at Malone's. When I finally got into such debt, I mortgaged the business. But that didn't stop my gambling. I ran out of cash. Malone said he'd not only cancel my gambling debts, he'd make me a loan. But he needed collateral. To protect his loan, he suggested I take out an insurance policy, making Duke Wallace beneficiary. I was desperate. Well, the night you saw me when I was so drunk, the last thing I remember was being dragged from the back seat of my car and shoved into the front seat.
Nothing on this one either. Search him.
But I have no other recording.
Search him.
Get him up, all of you.
Look, Davison, can't we talk this over?
What would you like to talk about? Insurance? Maybe you'd like to take out a policy on me and then bump me off like you did the others. Now, you're talking to the wrong guy, Malone. Go ahead, take a look at it. But leave the dough alone. Get me the police.
Police? Oh. Yes, sir. Right away. Get this. A guy in Malone's office asking me to call the cops.
Somebody clowning. Who was it?
I don't know. I didn't recognize his voice. Hey, maybe there's trouble.
So I'll take a look. Anybody in here call the cops?
Take a look. Cousin Tom's identification.
Well, what do you know? Miss Nancy Sullivan's corny cousin from Atlanta, a special investigator. Kid's a genius.
Now it's my turn to do some investigating. So what did you mean by insurance policies?
Tell Malone Chief Myers wants to see him.
Well, I don't know, officer, if he's in.
Find him.
Yes, sir. Chief Myers is here to see Mr. Malone. Oh. Yeah. Sure. He's not in his office, but they'll try to locate him.
Throw him in that hamper. Get him out of here fast. They can't prove that he was here, that we ever saw him. Stall the cops until we're out of the parking lot. Then call them. Let them come in here. Let them look around. They got nothing on me. You don't know anything, understand? I've gone to see my lawyer.
Okay, all clear.
Haven't you located Mr. Malone yet? The chief is getting angry.
Just don't you say nothing. Stall. I'll do all the talking. You just hang on, and before you can count to 20, I'll give you the all clear. Can you count to 20?
A 1, a 2, a 3...
Not out loud, you dope! Okay, send him in.
Go right in, Chief.
I think you'd better wait here, Miss Sullivan.
All right.
Chief! Chief, that laundry truck just drove out. darling.
Are you all right, Mr. Davison?
Chief, I never felt better. Dismissed.